Yes. So, welcome everyone to this podcast. This is a Mhondoro Dreams Productions podcast in line with the Nyamatsatse Festival this year. We have a very, very, very interesting guest speaker today who I will be conversing with. I am Clara Ana Rosa Masibanda, and I will let my speaker introduce himself.
Okay, I'm Walter Masimba Mafusire Katsamba.
An economist.
Yes, by training, academically. Yes, I come from an economics background, academics.
Yes, but that is not why you are here today.
No, I am of Giovanni Masowe religion. It's an apostolic religion, and I am also a spiritual person. Mainly my calling is exorcising evil spirits in people. So that way I get to meet with a lot of spirits.
Yes.
Evil spirits like avenging spirits, ngozi. We talk about witches, varoi. Goblins, Zikwambo. We also meet with Midzimu, Mashikiro, Mhondoro, but their treatment now is different. Whereas with evil spirits, Mashave, Ngozi, Zikwambo, I exorcise, like I chase them away. But if somebody comes and they are possessed with Mhondoro or Midzimu, which is an ancestral spirit, I don't like chase away. Because even in our religion, our founder, Johan, we call him Johan, right?
Johan.
He did not rebuke. He did not condemn Mhondoro, Midzimu. He actually consulted them when he came. He then thanked them for having kept God's people in Zimbabwe.
So your argument before, you were saying that Johan Masowe, you call it a religion,
yes.
Whether you call it a spiritual
Apostolic.
path, apostolic, but you claim these are not Christians. These are actually closer to Chivanhu than they are to...
Yes.
Can you say more about that?
Johan Masowe actually migrated from Chivanhu, migrated from ancestral religion. Why? Because when Johan came, he consulted with Midzimu. He went there, introduced himself, talked to them. He was accepted, he was welcome, and Midzimu actually told their people to say, this is the person we were talking about, to say he's coming to our region, to our Zimbabwe. He's coming to take you to Masowe, right? To pray to God directly. We used it to pray through Midzimu, but now he's coming to take you to pray to God directly, to worship God directly, not through Midzimu. And that was the message which Johan brought. But where we meet, it's like one, we migrated from there. Because in our religion we say there was a handover, takeover from Midzimu to Johan Masowe.
But what you said when we met the other day, you said that actually they still work together, that you still have the Mapustori sending people to the Mhondoro and the Midzimu.
Yes.
And you also have the Mhondoro and Midzimu sending people to the...
Exactly.
So the handover was not total, it was more like working together.
Exactly, working together. That's why you did not rebuke. That's why we don't chase away Midzimu. No. If somebody comes and they're possessed with Midzimu, I have got very recent examples. One person came, they were possessed with Midzimu, they introduced themselves, right? Wakashika Midzimu, and they clapped, they introduced themselves, and the Midzimu said, now I am like restrained. I cannot function properly because in my family they've now brought in Zikwambo, these goblins and things. So I cannot operate or function properly because of that. And there is also some shedding of blood through rituals. So it's now not a very good situation for me to operate within. May you help my family. Because I see you still have the power to help these people. Me, I'm now restrained. I cannot function properly. Then the other side, the other time, there was Makombwa. You know Makombwa, right?
Yeah.
They introduced themselves. They said, okay, we are Makombwa of this region, right? And many of these churches, they are not worshiping God as you are doing here. We want you to help some of these people in this area whose families are now, what can I say? They are now infested with evil spirits, right? So in that case, it means it's Mudzimu who is giving me the people. And I talk to them and negotiate to say, okay, this person is now troubled. What would you want us to do with this person, your Hongwe, right?
Yes.
Your medium, so that we can help them away from, out of these troubles. So we working together.
So you work hand in hand together. And you said something very beautiful when we met the first time. You said that academics should not write about spirituality.
No.
Because they are not spiritual people.
No. They mustn't, and they cannot exhaust it, because spiritual is spiritual. The spiritual world and the physical world, the academic space, these things are very different. That's why I can understand very clearly problems happening in a family which a counselor who is not spiritual cannot understand.
Yes.
If I'm counseling some people who are coming to my church and they are having problems, first of all, I do some healing practice on them. Maybe in some cases a demon comes out and tells them or tells me to say, we are the ones who are troubling this family. Which a counselor, just a counselor who is not spiritual, cannot understand that. Right?
Yes.
So academics may learn what spiritual people are doing and are telling them. Academic people cannot tell spiritual people what is happening in the spiritual world. They're not qualified to do that.
Yes.
They're not.
Because you have felt that Johann Masowe also has been misrepresented academically.
We have been grossly misrepresented. I may not mention the names of the writers here, but they've written some books, more like exhausted the whole topic of Johann Masowe, but very wrongly, because they were taking it from an academic perspective, writing Johann Masowe as critiques of what happens in the religion, but not as original narrative from the members, and more so from the spiritual members, spiritual people of the religion or in the religion. Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that. So when the first time we met, you brought up a very interesting question, which I find that a lot of people in Zimbabwe, we ask ourselves this question about the Mhondoro Spirits. And you gave a very interesting narrative, which I hope that you will be able to recount here again, that started with that question of really, the Mhondoro Spirits, Mhondoro Zaenda Papi, and like, where have they gone? And also you as a person who actually grew up with Mhondoro Spirits in your family, and you have seen the way that they used to function and their level of power and operation, and then what you see in the spiritual landscape in Zimbabwe today. Can you tell us about that?
It's an area which touches me a lot, and I become very emotional when I discuss this, because I've got first-hand information from when I was growing up. I grew up in a family where Mhondoro was our reference center. All our things were determined from ancestral spirits, from the Mhondoro, both my mother's side and my father's side. So they were very powerful. Mhondoro spirit, I would say, they would determine the everyday lives of the Shona people, right? To the extent, rainmaking, for example, civil wars or tribal wars, they participated. they were custodians of our culture and our morals. We would be told by Mhondoro what to do, what not to do, what to wear, to put on, dress code, and what not to put on. Where to go to work, where not to go to work, what to eat and not to, and what not to eat. When to do some field work, some work, and where the day to rest, the Sabbath day was a Friday.
Okay.
And coincidentally, the Sabbath day for Giovanni Masowe, it's Friday. You see? So, Midzimu were very powerful. What I experienced most was during the liberation struggle. Midzimu participated actively.
The ancestor spirits.
Yes. Mhondoro, they participated by prophecy and also practically. To the extent we had liberation fighters, whom we called comrades, right? Now they are referred to as war veterans, who were possessed, who were spiritual people themselves, with the Mhondoros, with the Midzimu, who were liberation fighters in the war. And those people would lead their groups, would direct their groups, where to go, when to go, and when to wage a war, when to hide, when to run away. And it was directed by Midzimu. I still vividly remember when my own uncle was shot at by two settler soldiers. He was shot at, two guys, two guns, two magazines, four magazines. They were emptied on him. Yes. It took about 5 to 7 minutes. And I was there, I was watching, but from a distance. When the magazines were emptied, he stood up and he was coming home. And I ran away. When I got there, he was following. I hid and I was looking through some holes in our small hut. We were living in a protected village. We used to call them some keeps, right? When he arrived there, he took his mbira, the musical instrument, the ancestral musical instrument. Then he came out, he was playing the mbira. People started to come, because they knew him, he was very popular. They started to come and, just asking and checking on his welfare, is he okay, and what is happening. And there and then, it was in August, there was a strong wind and rains in August. It's not characteristic of our climate. In August, there are no rains, but it rained. And after that, he then said, okay, he dismissed the people and said, no, this was just meant for me to cleanse him. Because there was some small scratch here where there was some blood coming out. So he said, okay, you can now disperse. This was meant for cleansing his body, just that. And you would dictate, where this week the liberation fighters must go and hide, where they must go and get food, when to start a war, when to run away. I was the person, I was young enough not to be suspected by the religion forces. I was old enough to be able to carry some messages from him to the liberation fighters. So I would run there and tell them, relay all those messages. So I was very, very active. He was very, very active until after the war. Even the government recognized that and they wanted to give him some demobilization monies, and he refused. He said, no, I was doing this for Zimbabwe. There are so many people who died in the war who did not receive anything because they died for Zimbabwe. So I was doing it for this nation.
Wow.
Right. And even during the war, there were comrades, right, liberation fighters who were sent from Mozambique all the way to Matonjeni. Yes. And they were instructed orders from Midzimu. One, not to stop any lift and any vehicle. Two, not to hide. You must travel by road from Mount Darwin, from Togo, by road to Matonjeni, to Matopos. Don't hide. Don't run away from anybody.
Wow.
Right? They would travel. And at one time, my own brother, he's a stepbrother, he was in the war. He told me at one time, these comrades were moving, and a vehicle, which was driven by the soldiers, the Rhodesian soldiers, actually stopped for them and gave them a lift to Mvuma, past Harare to Mvuma, and dropped them there. They said, okay, bye-bye, you can go. And they went to Matonjeni to pay some homage, to pay some respect to Wadzimu. So there's a lot which happened through Midzimu. We were, everyday life, everything was dictated by Mhondoro, by Midzimu. But, the receding, the coming of the white settlers, they started bullying the mediums, the spirit mediums. They were killed, some of them. They started harassing them, and it was well meant, because they learned that you cannot conquer the Shona people if you don't start by conquering their religion. If you want to conquer their religion, first of all, defeat their religious leaders. So the Mhondoros and the Midzimu were our religious leaders. Those were the people we targeted, and they were killed. One. And number two, there came Joan Masowe in the 1930s, 1931, 1932. Joan Masowe approached the Midzimu and he said, okay, may you give me these people, because I have come to rest you. My father is saying, I must rest you. Time has come for me to rest you, because there's going to be a lot of bloodshed coming in to this nation. He was prophesying the war now. So there was a negotiation there, then they agreed. But Midzimu did not go away just like that. It was a gradual process. And Midzimu resurfaced during the war, very strong. And stronger than before. And the Midzimu fought our liberation struggle.
And they won.
They won. I was there. I witnessed it.
Yes.
So.
And then what happened?
Later on, after the struggle, we won independence. There was supposed to be some ceremony to thank our Midzimu for what they had done. And I read in the scriptures, in the books, that ceremony was not done to thank Midzimu. It was supposed to be a very big ceremony, big, national. It was not done. Now, because of westernization, because of education, Western medicine, Western culture, the formal sector, urbanization, Midzimu were being pushed away by the people. It's not like Midzimu were going away themselves voluntarily, but people started ignoring Midzimu for the Western culture gradually. And gradually Midzimu started receding, going backwards. Up to now, where we don't have very prominent people.
We don't.
Who are mediums of Midzimu in the mold of, Kaguri, Chaminuka, Nehanda, Mukwati, Goronga, Gwangwadza, Nyaore, Gondondo. We don't have today. It's because of that. Exactly the same things we were told by Midzimu not to do is what people are doing now, and in excess of that.
Which is what? What did the Mhondoro say to not do?
Education, for example. They told us not to attend the Western type of education, one. 2, don't go to the towns. Midzimu refused people to go to work for white people. And don't touch Western medicine. Because we were healed by Midzimu. I was healed by Midzimu. I never suffered from Gwirikwiti. What is Gwirikwiti? There's a certain ailment which every child, you cannot run away from it. Every child, you have to suffer. It's some point in time.
Pox.
No, it's not chicken. Measles, is it? Measles, I think.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah. We never suffered from that because of Midzimu. So we were discouraged from going to those things. And don't bring foreign items in your homes, in these homes. The spirit mediums themselves, the people who were possessed by Midzimu themselves were told there was a certain moral standards which they were supposed to maintain always. Dress code, the food, the eating habits, the food, and where to stay, right? You don't just stay, even Western houses, buildings like these ones. No, you stay in a banya, banya.
Yeah.
Yes, with grass-thatched houses, huts. So those things gradually started diminishing the influence and the power of Midzimu up to where we are now.
But isn't it, though, that the spirits, if you look at also other places, other nations, that the spirits, they don't go away, they adjust. They try to come in where they can. I also see that in Poland, in that, because especially, the spirits are not, they know better than we do where things are going. And they also know that now we are moving towards a type of globalization that was unimaginable in the 18th century, the 17th century. So if we're moving towards that, then the spirits presumably also would need to allow to have more mixing, to have more movement, to have more,
Yeah, but to an extent I might differ there to say, okay, who needs the other? We or Midzimu? Is it Midzimu need us more than we need Midzimu, right? So if we need Midzimu, I think it's up to us to adapt to their standards, to what they want. This is what I think. And okay, we are talking of a traditional religion, which we must not modernize. Well, there are certain things that may be compromised, but not completely, not wholly. But at the same time, I'm not saying it's hard and fast, right? I'm not saying strictly that, because the spirit world governs itself, and it governs us.
Yes.
So it has the power to do or to come the way it wants, and it dictates what they want on us. Yes. So I accept. It's not, to an extent I accept, because it's not us who must determine and guide what they must do or how they must come. But they do that at every stage in our lives.
Yes.
That's why I think it's very wrong for me to say this one cannot be possessed. This one can be. This one may not. No. No. It's very, very small-minded.
Yes.
And very, very mentally limited.
Yes.
In the things of the spirit. Yes, the things of the spirit choose anybody. And many times, especially in our religion, we are warned not to look down upon anyone, lest God chooses who they want. And if in your eyes those people are not fit for that, then you are doomed. Because that's where God is coming through. And that's where God is talking to you through that person. So if you ignore, it's at your own peril. It's at your own disadvantage. So the things of the spirit need not be guided by us or judged by us. No. The best way to judge things of the spirit is to let the spirit operate.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yes. Let the spirit operate and give them the opportunity to operate freely, comfortably. Then you must be learning from there. If you think this thing is wrong or these things are wrong, you are free to ask this spirit, not the medium. You ask the spirit when it's still there. All your questions before you can deny it, before you can fight it, before you can oppose it. Ask when the spirit is there. That's the best way to be. To move forward. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. Yes. I mean, it's a complex. The questions involved with that are very complex because, of course, there are stories. A lot of people tell those stories about the ceremonies that were not done. And what happened with the Mhondoro, and in whose interest is it that the Mhondoro are no longer here? And then the question also, which I ask I ask myself regularly, in that, who are the Mhondoro? Because they are unique, you know, they are a certain type of spirit. And if we look at the history or the presence of lion spirits, not just in Zimbabwe, but globally, they are a very particular type of spirit, and they have certain characteristics, you know, of protection, for example, of a spiritual law, a love, balance, simplicity.
Yes, humility.
Yeah, humility, exactly.
Unity.
Unity, you
Yes,
know.
respect.
So in that sense also, the question becomes, what is the relationship of the Shona people with the Mhondoro? Because it's a very close relationship. It seems that the Mhondoro are the spiritual leaders of the Shona people.
Yes.
Where does that come from?
You see, the Mhondoro spirit is above Midzimu.
Yes.
And our, I don't know how to classify it, but okay, let me say Mhondoro and ancestral spirits, right?
Yes,
or
yes.
Mhondoro and Midzimu.
Uh-huh.
So the Mhondoro were regional.
Yes.
A Mhondoro would come, or can come, and say, I've come to protect. Normally that's the way they used. They used kuno chengeta. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what is that in English. What can we say?
To hold, to protect.
To protect, to hold, to keep.
To keep.
Right.
Yeah.
My people. Okay. You do not trace or want to trace or labor yourself by tracing back to say, who are you and where are you coming from? In most cases, because Mhondoro is regional, can only be recognized by Midzimu, not by people.
Not by people.
If Midzimu accepted to say, okay, Tino Muziva, we know him, we know them, he's our great this and that, which maybe us, the people, may not even trace back to that, or even acknowledge or have knowledge of. We accept it because it has been accepted by Midzimu. Midzimu are more immediate to us. They are closer to us. Mhondoro is further away. It's. Do you know what? There are Mhondoro in Manika land who would be invited into Mozambique, further down into Inyambani or Cabo Delgado or Pemba there, the coastal regions of Mozambique. From Mutare to there, because it was the regional spirit, the Mhondoro of all those Menemutapa people up to the sea. So it was a great spirit, which you may not have, your knowledge to that is too limited as a person. Yes. So you can only accept it, and you can only be guided by Midzimu to accept that. You can't be guided by any person, any one individual person. No. No. Yes. So, okay, as the Shona people, we understand. We come from, we migrated from Tanzania up to here, to Zimbabwe. Tanganyika. And the word Tanganyika came from Midzimu. They always used it to say, Kwatakava Tanganyika. Kwatakava Tanganyika, you know, where we came from, Tanzania. Where we came from, Tanganyika, meaning the origin of humanity, the place of the origin, our origin. That's the reference. Okay. So,
but they didn't indicate it geographically.
No.
Tanganyika could be all kinds of places, metaphorically speaking, right?
It can be. But then we have a country referred to as Tanganyika.
Yes. No, I was just, yes. So go ahead.
And so you can have a spirit coming from Tanganyika and it possesses you. You start doing your things, you start prophesying, you start healing, you start, telling people what to do, this and that, used by that spirit, which maybe here in Zimbabwe, as Shona people now localized in Zimbabwe, may not realize or recognize, right? But our not recognizing that does not disqualify the spirit that it's a Mhondoro spirit of our people, of our tribe. No. Let Midzimu interfere, come in and tell you whether it's true or not. and also observe whether the things that are being happen, which are happening, the things which are happening, are they false? Or they are genuine? They are realistic? So we do have these measures to say, okay, no, this is genuine, this is realistic. Because, for example, in our church, and it applies very strictly so in Midzimu, the person who is possessed has got some standards. Okay. Can I say standards or characteristics?
Characteristics.
Okay. Normally, those people are very humble. They are very welcoming. They are very loving. They are very respectful. They are unifying people. So these are some of the things which you can witness in those people. One. And also in the spirit that is coming to this person, that is possessing this person, must have greater characteristics. I mean, what can I say? They must be more endowed with love, with respect, with humility, with unifying. Because they are unifying spirits, respectful spirits, loving spirits. If you see a spirit that's coming to cause some hate among its people, dividing its people, not showing love to the people, not unifying, it's an evil spirit. It's not Mhondoro. Yes.
But then sometimes that question, because well, of course, we look at ourselves as examples. What is interpreted as divisiveness? What is not interpreted as divisiveness? So for me, my big problem is I'm a Murongo. And it's because I'm a Murongo, it took me a very, very, very long time to, I think I'm still in the process, but to really accept my calling.
Okay.
Because initially when I first got the callings and I had the dreams and I had the illness and so on, I said, no, I can't do this. I don't want to do this because it's too hard. It's too traumatizing for people to see a Murongo like this,
Okay.
But the spirit said, no, this is the way it has to be.
Okay.
So sometimes, there's creating unity, and then sometimes you have to be open to people. I don't know, it's like people act out their feelings towards you. And then the question is it the spirit, or the spirit has to be able to encompass people's reactions? It has to be able to hold people, like you said,
No, the spirit, well, the things of the spirit, you cannot be able to guide, right?
That's true.
This is my opinion, right? It can only unify, and it can only be patient with those people until they learn and accept. Your position is exactly the position of Joan Masowe. Exactly. Joan Masowe is a religion. It's not a church. It's a religion. It's not Christian. We are not a Christian religion. Joan is derived from John, the angel John the Baptist. Right? So the spirit came on this guy. The name was Shoniwa Masedza from Gandanzara in Zusape. So this spirit possessed him, and it said, I want to go and start in Mhondoro, right? At Nyamweda. I am John. John Mubabatizi, John the Baptist, who baptized them in Europe. Now I have come to you, the black people, and only the Africans. Right? Now, there started the problem. Should we accept that? Can John come and, work with a black person? Can a black person be possessed by, an angel? Because traditionally we believe the angels were white, the angels are for the whites, Christianity is for the whites, we can only be converted into it. But here is a spirit which is saying, no, I've come to you directly. And I'm speaking to you directly. I am John the Baptist. Jesus is coming and is coming here to a black person. That black person shall go to Europe, shall preach, do some sermons to the whites. Are they going to accept it?
Well,
so this is exactly your position. This is exactly where you are. We were used to it. We were used to a black person being possessed by Mizimu and Mhondoro. But these things are things of the spirit. Can we change? May we change? And so John was incarcerated, he was beaten, he was tortured with hard labor, in prison with hard labor and all sorts of things. He was banned. The religion was banned because we don't read the Bible. We must not go to school. We must not go to hospitals or clinics for Western medicine. We must not go to towns to seek employment from anyone. We must be traditional because it's a traditional religion. It was coming exactly from where Mizimu were. See? Except Bute and black cloth, we just use the white cloth, right? But the issue of acceptance into the larger communities, the larger societies. Now we have people who are in England, who are prophesying in England. John Masowe in England. And the white people there going to accept that. To say these people they are prophesying with the Holy Spirit of God. And their founding leader was John the Baptist. Can they accept it?
Well, the way that I see it is I feel that there is a big global exchange happening. Because you see a lot of Africans are going up north, and what are they carrying with them? They're carrying spirituality. Even in Poland, I mean, in the last few years, there are, because Poland is a very Catholic country, but there's no charisma in the churches. There's no spirit of God. And people are disappointed because the church has become a very political institution. So it's just, so when people come, these prophets, these preachers from, East Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, and they come, they prophesy to entire stadiums because they are carrying the spirit in a way that Polish people need. So Polish people will accept, not only will they accept, they're happy because they feel that they're rediscovering something that we have lost.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So maybe it also goes the other way.
So me, I'm not surprised the kind of reception, but maybe you need to be patient. The Mhondoro needs to be patient. Gradually people may learn or are going to learn to say these things are now happening and these things can happen.
Yes.
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
And we are in a transitional period. This is a transitional period to say the spirit is going among people, be it white or black.
Yes.
It's a transitional period.
Yes.
So we are caught up now in this transitional period where we were not used to it. May we be used to it now.
Yes.
Now that it's happening.
Yes, because that's, what I even said when I went to the University of Zimbabwe. I gave my talk. I said the spirit is interested in being miraculous. The spirit is interested in getting people's attention. The spirit is interested in showing that what we thought was not possible, actually it is possible, so that our imaginations can also expand for the spiritual things.
Exactly.
For the spiritual things. But it is not an easy process.
We cannot limit the things of the spirit. We cannot contain the things of the spirit because it's spirit.
Exactly,
The spirit.
And we should be happy that it is amongst us.
Yes.
And it is trying to speak.
I'm very much worried is not the word, but very much interested, concerned about spirituality in Zimbabwe. Because I know the Shona people can only be led spiritually. We are such a people who can only be led religiously, spiritually.
Why is that?
The Shona people, I'm yet to find out why. But I think we are a chosen people. We go back to the biblical times now. We are a chosen people. And even now in our religion, in John Masowe, it's actually explained that way, to say the Shona people, God chose the Shona people to start from here, but this word must spread throughout the world, but starting from Zimbabwe. So again, it's up to God to say why.
Like we said, Zimbabwe is a fountain of spirituality
You said that.
for the world. Yes.
You said that.
Yes, I did.
And it was said even with John. John, the founder, he actually came here and said that. So you are chosen. You have been chosen to be the people who shall carry the word to the larger world.
To the world.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
So the Spirit knows better. Yes, we can only leave it to the Spirit. And because of that, and the way we are ignoring the Spirit, the way we are substituting, or the way we are moving the Spirit away from our everyday spheres of life, be it Mhondoro Midzimu, be it spirituality in our spiritual traditional churches, it's worrying, because we are a people who cannot be left alone. Because traditionally and by nature, we are a people who can only be led religiously, spiritually. And to an extent, being a religious person and a spiritual person, I can safely say this is why Zimbabwe is afflicted by problems, certain issues, certain problems which are not normal.
Yes.
To say the least.
Yes.
You know, we have everything in Zimbabwe. We have the potential, the greatest potential to develop, to go, and be an example to the world.
Yes.
Economically, politically,
spiritually.
But nothing is happening.
It's true.
We are stagnant, if not going back, regressing. People are employing professors to lead this ministry, lead this bank, lead this what, professors, academic people. But I think these people do not need just academics. These people can only be also assisted spiritually, if they could welcome that, if they could acknowledge that, if they could realize it, to say Zimbabwe is different. It cannot be led forward. It cannot be, I don't want to use the word ruled, but governed, academically. Not Zimbabwe. It's not Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe can only be guided spiritually, religiously. And people shall come to realize. And it's very true. This was prophesied over and over, from Midzimu, even in our church, to say Zimbabwe at some point in time shall be the topic the world over in suffering. Yes. I will take Zimbabwe to the pinnacle, and everybody shall be pointing to Zimbabwe to say, look at that, look at how they are suffering. Because they have removed me, or they've pushed me away from them. Because I love them. I want them. I want to be in their midst. I want to work with them. But they think they are clever. They want to do it academically. They are going forward now. They can only realize later, but it will be too late. But if at some point in time they were to realize and start to respect the spirit, the spiritual world, and want to really follow in the guidance of the spirit, Zimbabwe shall be number one, shall be prosper again. And in this country we prophesy to say, wealth alone, our economy is as large as, or can be as big as the Arabic world. Yes.
I believe it. That's why we are here.
But it's being trampled on. Why? Because people have ignored the things of the spirit, which has the power to reveal or to solve all these issues. These issues can only, these political issues, we have all the prophecies, these economic issues, they can only be solved spiritually.
Yes, it's true. It's true, and a lot of us know that. So Yes. Well, thank you so much for this interview. I know it's not the last time that we meet and talk like this, but also I wanted to say that Walter will be presenting at this year's Nyamatsatse Festival in August, so we are very excited for that. And yes, thank you so much, and stay tuned.
Okay. Thank you so much for accepting me, for being with me here.
Thank you for the stories and the wisdom.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay.